How about now? Can you hear me now? I bet you can. Hold on, I'm seeing no sound still. I bet you can hear me now, though. Somebody confirm. Can you confirm that you can hear me? We hear you. Great. Okay, thanks, Joe. Great. I think that the comments come in slow. So yeah, I was on mute. I was focused on the inspector and completely forgot to turn the mic on. I was trying to jump in early because the inspector's been with me for the last 45 minutes. He's been just around my neck, whatever. And as soon as I put my hat on to get ready for the live stream, he hadn't moved from my neck for a long time. And as soon as he saw that hat, he crawled right up on top of it. So there he is. I thought we'd start with him because I had him out anyway. He's now in, I think he's trying to get on the ladder, which I don't want him on. He's now living in his new bioactive vivarium. He's been in there for a few weeks now, and he's doing well. He's eating in there, and he's using both of his hides, both of his subterranean hides, which is really cool. For those of you who saw that build video, if you didn't see it, I'll just tell you real quick. On this side over here, under this wood, is a hide that's buried that he can go in from the top. And then on this side, this is a hide that he can just go in. It's sitting on the, okay, there you go. You can see it. So it's sitting on the ground level, but it's sitting on top of one of those hides that he can go down into from the top. So he has two levels there. He can go all the way down onto the dirt, which is what he usually prefers to do. It's pretty cool. He's doing well in there. I think he likes it. So anyway, hi everybody. So many people are in already. Let's see. Q is in. Glad you're here, Q. Good to see you. Telly, D&K Reptiles, Gary's Tina Exotics is in. What's up, everybody? Ethan, Danielle made it. Hi, Danielle. Good to see you. Sarah's in. Erica, Joe, Keith. Hey, Keith. Thanks for staying up super late or super early in your case, I guess. Erica's in. Glad you're here, Erica. David, Amy Bentley is in. You guys, just so everybody knows, Sunday is Amy Bentley's birthday. So this is something that she and I have been good friends for a number of years now. And it's something that I should have known, but I didn't know until today. So I wanted to save you all from the embarrassment of not knowing that Sunday is Amy's birthday. Okay, let's see. Ian's in. Chrysula, Joe. Okay, a bunch of. All right, I think I've seen everybody. Great. Thanks for being here early, you guys. Matthew's in. The Naughty Irishman. Sherry, William. Hi, everybody. Cool. Artful Jackalope is here. A lot of the regulars that I often see here and on Patreon. That Hot Librarian's in, and some probably new people as well, which is cool. Let's do this. I'm gonna say goodbye to the inspector. So real quick update on the inspector. He's got this bump on his nose still. He's been to the vet. I don't know if you can see. My camera is actually far away. The way I set up today, I had to get it way back, so I can't get him up to the lens really. But there you go. You can probably see that bump. He's been to the vet for it, and we're just kind of watching it. It's not really, it went down probably 25%, but then it's kind of just holding. It's in a holding pattern. He may need surgery. I don't know. We'll see. But what I'm going to do now is just put him back in his cage. We'll see if he wants to go in there, because he's been out for a long time, actually. So here's what we're going to do, you guys. I'm going to show off some snakes. I have a cool new situation that I want to show you guys. I got to get rid of him first, and then show you guys this new cool thing that we will implement from now on in live streams. Hang on, let me shut some doors here. Let's get this shut. And get this shut, and maybe he'll cruise around for a little bit. You know, it wasn't too long ago, it was only a few months ago that I would do a live stream and the inspector would be cruising the whole time because he was just in breeding mode and going crazy. And he still is breeding with 2 females, but he's out of that crazy mode. He's back on food. He's eating all the time. He wants to eat all the time. And he's just kind of back to normal, even though he's still in breeding season. So for those of you who had followed the inspector's little saga. And oh, look at this. Echo is out. I didn't think we were going to have an appearance by Echo or Stella today, but maybe we will, because they were out early this morning. Echo was in full hunting mode, just wanting to hunt everything this morning. And I put them both back in their enclosures and they went to sleep. And I thought they'd be sleeping all day. But I think because there was some activity here, whenever there's activity sort of near their cage, whatever, they always think that there might be food involved. So I think they're up hoping for that. So we'll see. Hold on, I just want to see. So as usual, I'm going to make this statement like I always do. I'm going to skip tons of comments. I always read them the next day. But if you have a question and you're trying to ask a question, I will see it if you super chat it. I'll see it in the moment. But also, if you ask a question, especially if you're a new keeper and you're asking questions, there are a ton of experienced people in the chat. So ask your question. If I see it, I'll respond. If you super chat it, I definitely will see it and respond. But if I don't see it and don't respond, keep your eye on the chat because other people will answer your question too, which I think is really cool. Let's talk about what I'm drinking. Oh man, it's so good. I'm drinking, I think, my new favorite American whiskey. It's a rye whiskey. So American whiskey is, I mean, you can just call it, you can just say American whiskey if it doesn't fall into the other categories and it's whiskey made in America. So American whiskey, bourbon, rye are the main categories of it. And this stuff I've seen in stores before. It's called Barrel Seagrass. That stuff right there. Let me get my face out of the way. Maybe it's Barrel Seagrass. I don't know if you're supposed to pronounce it fancy or not. But it's a rye whiskey finished in Martinique rum, Madeira, and apricot brandy barrels. And it's cask strength, 60.1% alcohol by volume. That's 122 proof. So I drink a lot of it. But my friend Cherie brought it over the other. So Cherie, if you saw the video of when I went on a fast with Jenny Craig, we put Jenny Craig on a diet, and I went on a 10-day fast with her. And I interviewed Cherie, who is a doctor. She's a good friend of mine, and she made a quick appearance on the channel to talk about the effects of fasting for humans. Anyway, so Cherie, I teach. She comes over every week for a ukulele lesson. I teach her ukulele, and sometimes our ukulele lessons are not ukulele lessons; they are whiskey tasting sessions. So either I've got some new scotches and she wants to try them, and so we have a tasting, or she brings over some bottles, and when she brings over bottles, she leaves some with me. So either to keep, like if we do a tasting and she's like, yeah, I don't really like that one, you can have that one. So cool to have a friend like that. And also, how about this one that's amazing that we both loved, but she's like, I'm going out of town, you can borrow it, you can use it on your live stream. So thanks to Cherie for letting me have a bit of that. It's amazing stuff. Highly recommend it. It's a little rich for my blood as far as whiskeys go. This is, I think it's just under $100. And when I buy a bourbon or a rye or something, I'm paying under $40 usually for it. But that might be why I like it so much. It's very good. Okay. That was a long, usually my, the Scotch portion of Snakes and Scotch is not that long. That was a long one. All right. That hot librarian with the first super chat for the Scotch Fund. Excuse me, for the Scotch Fund, as always. Thanks, that hot librarian. I appreciate that. She's always helping me out with the Scotch Fund. We're not even doing. We might switch to Scotch. I don't think I want to though. This stuff is so good. There's another super chat. Cool story, bruh. Says, I got my second ball python, a Batman morph named Bruce Wayne. Such a great name for a Batman. I love those snakes. Those are really cool. Congratulations. That's amazing. And thanks for the super chat. Okay. You guys are talking about snakes that are off food, it looks like. I have a question in my handy dandy clipboard on my notes from Patreon that's about that. So I'm going to talk about getting snakes back on food. I didn't see the context of those comments. I just saw a couple people were talking back and forth about snakes that aren't eating. Let me show you my new situation though. Let's use for now. Let's get, because they're available. Hold on one second. We're going to get Willow and Dash out. These are, hi babes. These are my two holdbacks from my last clutch. Oh, buddy. Hi, pal. Buddy. So here's Dash and Willow. I think Willow was awake when I opened the thing, but look how crazy Willow's paradoxing is. Her head is paradox too. She's spot nose, so she has almost a spot nose head stamp, but it's not symmetrical because it's paradox too. So Dash is a freeway. Willow is an orange dream inchy spot nose freeway. Very cool snakes. So watch this. Hang on, I'm seeing some super chats. I'm going to get to those in just 1 second. Or maybe in about 2 minutes. Look at that. Look at that angle. So basically, I put together a little TV set with the snake condo. You know, I always redo this counter anyways. I always make it different anyway. And I thought it would be cool to have the snakes hanging out here and just be able to watch them cruise around. Now, there's a good chance that they're not going to stay on the little set that I made for them, but I'll keep my eye on them. And I'll just switch back and forth when they're doing interesting stuff. And we'll add other snakes to it as well, or maybe switch them out or whatever. Okay, here's a couple super chats. G3N3 Ticks Nerd. That's got to mean something that I don't get the reference to. G3N3 Ticks Nerd. I don't know what G3N3 tick. I should probably. Okay, anyway, thanks for the super chat. Love all you do to push husbandry, education, enrichment for reptiles. Oh, that's so nice. What a really nice thing to say. That was just a super chat with a compliment. I really appreciate that. These guys just sort of waking up and checking things out. Very, very slow to check things out, even though they know these hides. They've been on all this stuff, but it's a different configuration now. So it's like a new territory for them. So they're going to go real slow. Also, they're just waking up, so they're going to go slow because of that as well. But they're just going to slowly check things out. All right, next super chat. How's Handsome Dan? Are you a boa convert yet? You know, I was always a boa convert. I love boas, and I have for ages. I just didn't have one. Handsome Dan is awesome. I'll bring him out a little bit later. Remind me, don't let me forget, because he's good to come out. He hasn't eaten in a few days. Thanks for that super chat. That was Ian. Good to see you, Ian. I appreciate that super chat. I'm just scrolling through here. So the reason I did this, the reason that I set up this camera and everything is that I've had. Here, we'll just watch him for a second while I tell the story. I posted some free roaming snake stuff on TikTok and Instagram that got a lot of attention. And it wasn't attention from my normal fan base. It ended up on the For You page on TikTok, and just random people who aren't necessarily into snakes saw it. And a lot of people were impressed. A lot of people were horrified. But I had all these questions about, like, I think many people, even reptile keepers, assumed from the video that I was keeping the snakes out and they just lived in this room 24/7. Even though I mentioned I had Stella out and I mentioned her enclosure, but nobody heard that, I guess, or paid attention to that because they assumed that all my snakes were out all the time. But I had all these questions about, oh my gosh, they're going to poop everywhere, and why aren't they eating one another, and all this stuff. So I ended up with those videos. I started making response videos to answer a lot of those questions, because they're great questions. They're things that people who don't keep snakes, of course they're going to wonder all that kind of stuff. So I started answering those questions, and I ended up with a lot more followers than I had before on those platforms, because I hadn't posted a ton on either of those platforms, and now I'm posting more because I've got more people following. But I invited some people from those platforms over here, and I don't know how many folks are going to join us for this live stream, but I thought it would be fun to show some snakes free roaming in a little area. We've got Willow, found her hide, and we'll see what Dash does. But usually with this snake condo, the snake condo is kind of new because Black Box Cages sent me a ton of hides, and which I love. And I didn't even ask for them. They just sent me a massive box of hides, and I was like, yes, this is so cool. And so what I find with the snakes in the snake hide is that, or the snake condo, is that they'll go in and they'll check out every one. It's like the Three Little Bears. They're testing every hide to see which one they like best, and then eventually they'll pick one to stay in, or they'll just stay out and keep roaming. But I always notice things like this. Willow went into one hide and Dash goes right in behind her. Was that a coincidence, or did he go in because she went in there? We say that snakes are, these type of snakes aren't really social. But at this age, and they're 3 months old and they're clutch mates, they don't live in the same enclosure, but I don't know. But it's just interesting to watch and speculate, because that's really all it is. It's speculation when you're watching their behavior. Okay, back to you guys. So nice of you to super chat like this. We're gonna get to these. Let's see. Okay, so Ian's was the last one that I did. Oh, Danielle, that's really sweet. Just because we appreciate you, Bob. That's really nice. Thanks, Danielle. I appreciate that. Salah. I'm going to say Salah. I hope that's right. I bought my first snake because of your videos. Oh my gosh, that's amazing. My parents want to kill me now, though they think I'm worshiping Satan. Love from Omen. Oh man, I'm sorry. That's a bummer. Hopefully your parents can gain some knowledge about snakes and understand that they're not inherently evil creatures. But I'm glad that you're enjoying your new snake. Congrats on that. That's really cool. Thanks for that super chat. Gary's TNA Exotics. Thanks for the super chat, Gary. Kent Bob Ekins Bailey III. That's what your snake ended up being named. I think as a result of maybe some of the people in the last live stream. Is that what happened, Gary? Okay, so I'm going to finish reading this. Is loving his new name. Great, perfect. Thanks for everything you do for us. That snake doll is coming. I think you'll love it. I'm sure I'll love it. I'm excited to get it. That's great. That's awesome. Thanks so much for that. You guys are very nice. I'm glad you all are enjoying the content. Okay. Let's see what's happening over here. Do you guys like this? Do you like this separate camera setup? So we can watch the snakes. All right, let's start on these Patreon questions. I don't have a ton. I usually have 3 pages plus worth, and now I have just under 2 pages worth. So we're going to get to these, and I'm going to get to as many questions as I can on the chat, and it'll be snake shenanigans. So here we go. Let's start with. Yeah. Okay. Here we go. This is from Miriam. Hey, Bob, what's your favorite movie in which one of the main protagonists is a snake? And what is one of its most memorable scenes? So we talked about this after she asked the question. She didn't mean protagonist. I think she just meant one of the main characters is a snake, because usually snakes are portrayed as bad guys in movies. I was trying to think of one where the snake is a protagonist, like a, I couldn't think of any. But I'm gonna say Snakes on a Plane. Now, I'm not super happy with the way snakes are portrayed in Hollywood, and I think that it is a big reason why I have that whole series on the channel of introducing people to snakes who are afraid of snakes, because they've seen movies like Snakes on a Plane. However, it's an entertaining movie, and there is a scene, the scene where the snakes all come out. So what happens is there's a snake, there's like a coral snake on the console. Is that what it's called? The airplane's console, and the pilot's flying, and he sees it, and he takes his clipboard and he goes whack, whack to whack the snake. And that opens up, that undoes the, what's it called? The things that come down, the airbags. What are they called? The oxygen things, oxygen masks. So the oxygen masks drop, but along with a bunch of snakes. So the snakes were all hiding in the oxygen mask compartment, and they all come out and they start just attacking everyone just violently. So like one goes right for an eye socket, and it's just horrible. The snakes are out for killing everybody, and it's pandemonium. People are screaming. It's just massive chaos in there. And then you come to the cockpit. Flight comes in, keyed up, just kind of normal situation. She comes in and she goes, "Hey, how come the oxygen masks deployed?" That was her question. Like nothing about all the screaming people that she just came from. Nothing about that. It's great. Anyway, that was a long answer. I got to go faster on these. Good question though, Miriam. Thanks for that. All right, Erica, who's in, who just said this, by the way. Snakes on a Plane is so wrong, but so hilarious. Yes, I agree. Let's get to your question that you asked on Patreon, Erica. Bob, since you just did a care guide on retics, did you socialize them the same way as your ball pythons? Or do you have any other tips or that are specific to retics? Yeah, so exactly the same way as I would ball pythons. The same techniques of like sitting next to their cage. If they're a baby, they're going to be pretty frightened, sitting there and just allowing them to know that you're there, but not hurting them, things like that. That all works just the same. It probably works a little bit faster for them. They're a very curious snake, and even when they don't have much size to them yet or confidence to them yet, they'll still wander out and be curious. The one thing you do have to work with them more on, though, than a ball python, and it depends on the individual, but is the food response. So that's where target training right away and tap training right away comes into play. And I'll tell you, you know, I think my first target training video showed some ball pythons that were target trained, and I demonstrated that. And I don't do target sessions with them anymore, because really for me target training is a food cue, and none of my snakes or none of my ball pythons are crazy enough. They're not food motivated enough to be problems. So I really don't target them anymore. Do you see this behavior of rubbing his body along the inside of that thing? They all do it. The adults do it when they're going into one of these hides. They rub their body, and again, don't know why. Are they trying to leave? I mean, you would think that a scent mark they'd be peeing or something, but do they like how it feels? I think probably. It's weird. Anyway, what was I saying? I was in the middle of a thought. He's coming to me. I'm gonna have to get him when he gets out of that hide. What was I talking about? We were talking about socializing the retics, the food response. The target training. That I really don't do target sessions with my ball pythons anymore. I do target sessions with both my retics, the black-headed python, and my boa. All get target sessions, but they can all be target trained, and it's very cool. I just saw that my mom was in, you guys. Where's Mom? Hi, Mom. Thanks. I love my hat this week, too. I almost didn't buy this hat because I saw it in Idlewild, California last year, and I thought it was so ridiculous. I put it on, and I was like, this hat's really dumb. And then, like, the third time I wore it, I was like, I think it's my favorite hat, actually. This dumb hat might be my favorite hat. So I never wear it in public, though. I only wear it on these live streams. Dash, did I scare you? Sorry, buddy. Shoot. I wasn't ready to switch cameras. There he goes. I reached for my whiskey and scared that little boy. Because he's checking out this new environment that he doesn't know. He doesn't know that I'm sitting here. He can't even hardly see me. He hasn't acknowledged that I'm here. So I reach my hand out to grab my whiskey, and that's just movement. He doesn't know what it is. And real quick, he's back in the hide. So poor little guy. Everybody's saying hi to my mom. That's nice. Always happy to see Mom in here. When Mom's in here, that oftentimes means that Dad's around too. So hi, Dad, if you're there. Because they sit in big chairs side by side. You know how moms and dads do. Sit in the big comfy chairs. Okay. Where are we at? Oh, I'm answering questions. Austin Baldwin says, is it possible for a future video you can go over the characteristics of each morph in depth? I've tried using Morph Market to look at the names, and it doesn't help me in particular. Yeah, it's tough. I've been asked that before, and I'm not the right guy to do it, honestly, just because I basically know the morphs that I work with, and I don't work with a ton. I don't have hundreds of snakes. And some of the morphs that I work with, I still have trouble identifying sometimes, Extreme Gene, I don't even bother really with. I mean, I have some that I suspect have Extreme Gene, but I'm like, I don't even know. I don't get it. So I'm just not, I love the morphs. I love what morphs do. I love the science behind it, like the interaction of this gene plus this gene does this. It's really cool. And I like doing videos on that, on the genetics, but I'm just not a morph expert, I think, for me, when I am researching morphs and what certain snakes look like with certain genetics, because I've got like a clutch hatching or something and I need to identify something, I'm just looking at every morph market. I just learned how to filter morph market so you can put in specific genes, take out all the rest. look at everything that's ever sold, not stuff that's just for sale. That's a big tip. A lot of people don't realize that you can look at everything that's ever been sold to see what those snakes look like. And that's really helpful, but it's tough. So I'll do videos on the ones that I feel like I understand really well, but there's not a lot. So, so that's that. Maka Maka, the naughty Irishman, says, "Hi, Bob. Do any of your snakes respond to or become active when you play or listen to specific types of music?" Yeah, that's a common question. I get asked that a lot, and I have had response before, but keep in mind that snakes don't hear the same way we do. A lot of people think they're deaf and they can't hear at all, but that's not true. They can hear lower register stuff. So I think the snakes can probably hear when I'm playing the banjo, because the banjo has a super low G string and it's very resonant. They can probably hear when I'm playing the guitar, especially if I'm playing really bass heavy guitar. But I don't think they can hear the mandolin. I don't think they can hear the ukulele. And the only snake that has ever responded to it is the Sundance Kid. And he responded. I talked about this in another live stream, and we actually tested it with him during that live stream to see if he would do it again. But he was sitting in one of my ukulele students' laps. This is Lucy, who used to take ukulele from me, but now she's just an employee here at Green Room Pythons. She takes care of the snakes when I'm out of town. She comes in and changes waters and stuff, but she loves them, and she would always put the Sundance Kid in her lap. And one day she's playing ukulele, and he crawled up on top of the ukulele and wrapped around it while she played. And he never left it. As long as she was playing, he was sitting there. And when she stopped playing, he would start crawling again. And I thought that was really interesting. I don't think it was the sound of the music. I think it was the vibration of the ukulele. He was comfortable to him or something, like it felt good maybe. Because if it didn't feel good, he would have scurried off, So that's that. Tracy says, I should say that hot librarian says, "Tell us your favorite snake adoption story, please." I was trying to think of a really good one. I only have one personally where I actually adopted a snake, and that would be Jenny Craig. And that is a good story. Like that might be my favorite snake adoption story. I realize it doesn't have to be my adoption personally, but the story, let me get her, because she can. Here, I'll hold her for a minute. Here, you guys can watch. There you go. See what Dash is up to. All right. Here we go. So Jenny Craig here came to me several months ago. I told this story in the video, so I'll go quick on it. But basically, somebody contacted me. He had two snakes that he had only had for a few months, 4 months, I think. He got Jenny Craig when she was 2 months old, and she was 6 months at the time that he contacted me. And he was changing his living situation and needed to get rid of his snakes. And would I take them, or would I take one of them? And this is a female banana pied, and that fits in a banana pied project that I'm working on. So I thought, okay, yeah, I could use a female banana pied. Send her over. So he sent her to me, and she was real fat. And I didn't say anything about that. I really didn't have a chance to, because all I said was I sent him a message and said, "Hey, the snake showed up and looks good. Thanks so much." And he said, "That's great. Make sure to feed her, because she eats every 2 days, and I haven't fed her in a couple days, and she's going to be wanting food." And I was like, "Oh my gosh!" So basically, long story short, I I put her on a diet. I have a whole video about that. And the diet was, I wasn't sure if it was going to work, but it did. The diet was that I was going to give her 2 weeks off of food because you want her digestive system to relax. So I gave her 2 weeks off of food, and then I fed her a chick. Didn't know if she was going to eat it, but she did. Gave her that chick, and then I gave her 2 weeks off. And then I gave her a weaned rat. She should be on small rats with this size, but I gave her a weaned rat because I want her to just digest that food and get her digestive system relaxed again. It takes them 10 days to fully digest a meal. And maybe younger ones are a little bit faster than that, but it's still a long time. And if you're feeding them constantly, their digestive system never relaxes. Their organs double in size. Like, it's a big deal for a snake to digest food. It does a lot to their internal body. So they need time off of digesting. So anyway, we went chick. I think what I did is I went chick, 10 days off, weaned rat, 2 weeks off, chick, 10 days off, weaned rat, 2 weeks off. We did that for several months. And now she just took her first small rat. Now I'm just feeding her a small rat every 2 weeks, and she's back to a normal situation. I'm not worried about like any extra fat rolls. Like, she's got these rolls here. You can see that. I'm not too worried about that. She'll grow into that. It's not that big of a deal. But what I was worried about is her internal organs just having a break from that digestion. So she's doing well. She's going to be super healthy, and I think she'll live a long life. So hold on. Let's see what I missed. Erica just super chatted. I'm going to get to that in a second, but I want to see if I've... Oh, I have missed some. Hang on. Okay, so Gary was the last one that I read. Kathy Hudson. Thanks for the super chat, Kathy. You have been priceless in giving me the confidence to get my first snake. Oh my gosh, that's so nice. I'm glad. Congrats on your first snake, Kathy. That's amazing. Thank you so much for that. It's very sweet. Oh, from Greenlee. Let's see. From G. We are beginners, and your videos helped us so much to learn how to take care of our snake Coco. Oh, thanks, Greenlee. That's so nice. Greenlee's on the Patreon board. That's really sweet. Thank you so much. I'm glad that these videos are helping for some of the new keepers. That's great. Okay, I'm scrolling. All right, up to Erica. Erica, thanks for that super chat. Amy asked me to be the producer tonight, so check your phone. Also, thanks for the fun live streams, as always. I will check my phone because I did hear that I got some texts. Erica, you're on it. You were texting me the ones that I just did, but you texted them to me a while ago because they totally, they've been sitting there for a while. Thanks for that. All right. So we've learned, you guys, that even though you would think that a super chat's in color and it like me, I would never, but is that I missed. So I need a producer to help me and tell me if I've missed one. I'm gonna, you know what I'm gonna do is just switch this. Let's just get, let's just see what's going on with these snakes. So Willow doesn't seem to want to be out and about. Hey, buddy, come here. Oh, Willow. There we go. Big reach. Let me set these back for a second. Maybe we'll switch these out and put different snakes in there. Okay. There we go. Look at these two beautiful. Oh, I have three actually. I forgot that I was holding Jenny Craig also. Look at these two beautiful snakes. They're so cool. Willow just shed. So part of Willow's paradoxing, which is so crazy, but by the way, Dash is just a freeway. This is a freeway ball python. Nothing else going on with him. The freeway is a yellow belly. You take a yellow belly and an asphalt, which are two genes that look exactly the same, and you get a freeway. So that's him. We put him back really quick. And then I want to show you this weird thing about Willow's paradoxing. Buddy, go in there. You want to stay out? All right. He's not interested in his thing. So I'm going to put him back up here. So Willow's paradoxing. Here. You go right there, pal. Is interesting in that these parts that look kind of burned. I'm waiting for it to focus on her. I don't know if it will. Oh, it will if I touch the thing. Hang on. Okay, there you go. So this part that looks kind of burned, and on her head, and right here, shoot, it keeps focusing on the wrong thing. But anyway, those are the brightest spots on her. Everything else looks hypo. It looks slightly faded. I don't know if you can tell in the camera that everything else is kind of slightly faded. And you would think with paradoxing that everything would be bright like a normal ball python, and then the little paradox spots might be slightly faded. But she's a very interesting looking snake. I don't think there's any hypo in the pairing, so I don't think she's hypo. I think that's just how she came out. So I'm going to put her back because I think she's not too interested in cruising around. Maybe we can put, watch this. If we can get, oops, I don't want you doing that. She'll go into a hide right away. And then we have Dash right up top there. Just so you know what's happening. Okay. She's so pretty. Jenny Craig. She's a pretty snake. All right, back to Ruth Young. Thank you for that super chat. You didn't even have a question or anything with that. If you have one, put it in the comments. I'll try to look for it. Thank you for that. It's really sweet. Chibi Peach, thank you for the super chat. Thank you for all the advice. You know, everyone has their way of doing things, and it's nice to see a keeper who not only accepts that, but encourages creativity in the hobby. Kudos. Oh, that's really nice. Yeah, I think that everybody needs to figure out their way of doing it because we all have a different situation. We all have a different humidity situation in our home. Like there's so many different setup in our house. Some you know, I can free roam my snakes. I can set up my room to free roam. Some people can't. Some people have a bunch of cats running around and stuff. So everybody has a different situation, and we all figure out what works for our own snakes. Taylor Alexis, thanks for the super chat, Taylor. Sending my love and super chat as usual, but this time I'm not with my menagerie. Oh, bummer. You're not with the horses? They send their love too. I'm in the Appalachian Mountains. Oh my gosh. The Appalachian Mountains. Is that how it's pronounced? Appalachian Mountains, not Appalachian, right? At the moment, so waving from Virginia. That's so cool, Taylor. I want to be in the Appalachian Mountains. A beautiful spot. Okay. Let's get back to this clipboard. we got Dash making a break for it, and going onto the ball. That 3D printed ball that's glued to the top of a hide, because one time Echo knocked it over and came down with it. So I realized that little light ball cannot be, it's got to be mounted on something. All right, here we go. Where are we at on this? We just talked about Jenny Craig, my favorite adoption story. So now we're with Kathy Hudson. My little guy just shed over the weekend and didn't see his normal and didn't eat on his normal schedule the week before. Is it okay that I just wait? His normal day is Thursday. Yeah, that's a great question for new keepers. You can always have your snake skip a week, no problem. Even if you have a baby, even if you have a hatchling, they can skip a week. They can go 2 weeks without eating, not a problem at all. Also, if you want to, you can, if you feel like you want to feed them, just wait till they shed and feed them the next day. Some snakes will eat while they're in shed. Some snakes will eat as soon as they shed. Some snakes, they need a day or whatever. But whatever you want to do is going to be fine for the snake. They're not that. They're not really that fragile as far as their feeding. Let's see. Erica's telling me. Ruth asked, "Will he get used to me?" Erica, write that again. Will he get used to me teaching down? Do you mean reaching down so deep in trying to yank him out? I don't know what that means. Erica, see if you can get clarification on that. But I would say don't yank on a snake. Don't. Yes, reach. But reaching from where? Will he get used to me reaching down so deep and trying to yank him out? So if we're talking about a snake in a burrow that's like in their own burrow, you don't really want to yank them out of that, something like that. But reaching down, like I can lift this hide up that the inspector's in right now. I don't even know which one he's in, but I can lift those up and then just pull him out. That's not a big deal. But I wouldn't, if he had made a burrow in the substrate and he was like in there, I wouldn't be yanking him out like that. I'd wait for him to come out. But just pulling a snake out of their cage. So if that's what we're talking about, just reaching into a cage like a tank and pulling them out. It's one of those things where you want to socialize them a little bit first, because that's a really scary thing, especially if you're coming from the top. That's something that they're not going to just get used to, because anything coming from the top could be a hawk or a falcon or something. Like predators come from the sky, right? So you want to be really careful about that kind of stuff. And so if you have to reach in from the top because you have a tank, what you want to do is reach in away from them and then bring your hand forward and hopefully behind them if you can. Like reach in behind them and bring your hand so that they don't even see it. That's helpful to do. But also just the socialization techniques of not handling them and having them get used to just you being around is helpful. So how come my mouse isn't working? There we go. All right. Have I missed any? Hang on one second. Let me just scroll up and then we're going back to. Oh, I have. So Taylor was the last one that I read. Oh, I've got all sorts of problems right now, you guys. Hang on. Sorry. My mouse is going crazy and not working, but I got it now. Okay, so Joe super chatted. Thanks for the super chat, Joe. I'll get it to you if I can get my mouse to work. There we go. You're so helpful to us. We rescued a ball python baby after a teen bought her at an expo. Her name is Onion. We've had it for 6 months. Thanks to you, we know the basics. Keep learning, and she's thriving. That's great. Congratulations on that. That's great that you saved that snake. That happens a lot. You know, a teenager buys a snake, and the parents are like, no. So nice job taking that snake. I wonder if... That's right. We're going to work with this. Okay. Let's see what Dash is up to over there. Do you guys see him over by the far plant over there? Hey, what are you doing? Oops. Sorry, pal. Well, I failed. He's a resilient snake, though. I think he'll forgive me. I'll put the camera back on him when he's back in view. Poor little guy. He's just dropping. Okay. Where are we at here? Allison, what feeding practices would you recommend for a stunted snake? Oh yeah, I remember this one. She was underfed by the breeder. She's 11 months old. Normal feedings based on her current weight and size, larger prey items to encourage growth. Okay, so what I had asked her when she initially asked this question is how much did the snake weigh? And hey, you're causing all kinds of problems there, young man. The snake at 11 months old weighs, I think what she said was 142 grams. And I don't want him going in there with Jenny Craig. She's having her own time. I'm going to hang out with him. So that's a pretty small snake for 11 months old. Let's just see how much Dash weighs right now. He's not going to be 142 grams, that's for sure. But let's just see how far off. I have my scale right here. I'm not going to do it on camera because I don't want to take that long. Dash weighs... Oh, come on, really? He does. He's way more than that. He's 230 grams. I haven't weighed him since he was a hatchling. So this snake weighed 142 grams at 11 months old. That's almost hard to believe. But did I miss some? I got that one, Erica, and I got that one, yes. And then you're sending me another one that's just downloading, so I'll look. All right, so it's a very small snake. So this would be a breeder who, it's really unfortunate. Breeders sometimes will have a clutch and they don't care about the snake growing at all because they just figure that they'll sell the snake and whatever. So they do a maintenance feeding schedule and they'll just feed the snake like hopper mice until the snake sells. So 11 months later, you got a snake that's on hopper mice and weighs 142 grams or whatever. Like 11-month-old. What on there? So, Erica, I got that one too. Yes. Thanks. So my answer is it doesn't really matter how old the snake is. You're just going to feed them. If they're eating, you're just going to feed them an appropriately sized meal at appropriate intervals. So the snake has been not able to grow because they're not eating big enough meals for them to grow. But if you just start giving them big enough meals, they'll start growing. And some snakes will stay smaller, I think. And some will just catch up and it won't be a problem, Snakes are resilient, and even in the wild, if they're not able to find food hardly ever, or maybe it's all just little small prey items or something, they're going to have that situation, but they can still be a healthy snake even though they're small. So just feed them appropriately sized meals. Don't worry about what their age is or how long they've been that size, because they'll just grow when, as they eat. Natalie, thanks for that super chat. Natalie's saying, don't forget to hit the like button. I agree with that. If you are in and watching, is 123. I don't know how many likes because I'm not on the YouTube platform right now. I'm doing it from my program. But yeah, if you're in. Also, speaking of that, if you follow the channel but aren't subscribed, check to see if you're subscribed, because we just hit 19,000 subscribers, which is really cool. But I'm very excited to hit 20,000, and I think we should be able to do that by the next live stream, or maybe a little bit before the next live stream. We should probably be at 20,000, I would think. But if you're following and not subscribed, check, hit that subscribe button. Chibi Peach, thanks for that super chat again, Chibi Peach. Do you think some pythons are naturally predisposed to being more shy than others? Mine stares daggers, but never bites. Yeah, they definitely are more predisposed to being shy. I was talking to somebody. I had an interview with a guy who is working on his thesis at a university for a herpetological degree, and we were talking about this yesterday. That the idea that breeding, as you breed captive bred animals, the babies turn out to be a little bit more socialized just right out of the gate, versus you breed a couple of wild caught snakes, those babies are going to be pretty crazy. So definitely wherever that snake ends up on that line, whether their parents were wild caught or maybe their parents were F2s or F1, F2, versus a snake who's 15 generations in captive bred. But then also every snake has their own personality. So there's that too, The inspector is not, he's cool when I have him out, but he doesn't want to hang out with me ever. He's not a snake that'll ever crawl out onto my hand. He'll tongue flick on my hand and then move somewhere else. Like, he knows me. He knows I'm not going to hurt him. But like if I'm letting him come out of the cage on his own, he doesn't want me to help him. He doesn't want to come onto my hand or anything like that. And that's just how he is. And then I have other snakes like this one who comes right out onto my hand. Lydia Dietz, who's about to lay a clutch any day now. I thought she would have already laid, but Lydia comes out. Lydia won't come out if it's not like, she looks for my hand before she comes out. She comes out onto my arm and uses that to get onto the ground. So yeah, snakes are all different. Ethan Thomas, thanks for the super chat. Love the beard and hat. Oh, thanks. Thank you. A hat like this kind of matches a beard like this. I think I don't commonly wear hats like this, but I do commonly wear them on the live streams because snakes like to crawl up on them. Somebody asked if we were going to see Echo in this live stream, and I think we will. I'm going to put Dash back really quick. I think we'll see either Echo or Stella. Dash's cage is right below me. There we go. Let's see what's happening here. Echo may have gone back in her hide. She did, but Stella's out. Let's let Stella out. Hey, come on out. Hi there. Hello. I'm not feeding. You just come out and hang out with us. Yeah, come on. All right. She'll be slow, but she'll come out eventually. I like to, it's almost like tap training with Stella. I show her my hand. She's never bitten me. She always could. I always know that it's a possibility, but she's never bitten me or tried to bite me. And when she's even when she's looking for food, I can show her my hand and she'll tongue flick it and realize it's me. So I do that to show her that I'm not feeding. That's just me, you know. And she comes out of food mode pretty quick. Echo is not that way. Different snakes, different personalities. D-Lo, thanks for the super chat. We have a 6-month-old ball python. She's out of her cage being held or played with at least 2 hours a day and doesn't seem stressed. Is that okay? Yeah, I tentatively say yes because I don't know the whole situation. I always say that you know, these snakes are sleepy buggers and they sleep about 20 hours a day. So it depends on if they're being taken out of their hide and they've been sleeping, and you're waking them up for 2 hours a day during the normal time that they'd be sleeping. That is probably not the best thing for their stress level, even though they might not be showing stress. You know, that's a tough thing. There are definitely signs that a snake can be stressed, you know, that they're having a problem in the moment. But just the stress of being woken up all the time, every day, it's not a big deal if you do it occasionally to handle your snake. But if it's every day, that could be a problem. But it might be that you're handling the snake when it's already awake. And, you know, if they don't seem stressed by it, then you're probably okay. The other thing that I always say is if you can give your snake the choice, if you can give them an option, then you'll know their preference. So if you can just open the enclosure and they come to you and they come out, you know that they prefer in that moment to be out versus forcing them to come out by just picking them up all the time. You know, so you can kind of learn what their preference is, and their preference is going to change day by day. But giving them an option is always a good thing to do. You know. Azara Graham, I love how you worded that. Thanks for the super chat. Render us that which is render unto us that which is handsome Daniel. I love it. All right, we'll get handsome Dan out. Don't let me forget that I've got. Let's see, what do I have? I have Jenny Craig in a hide. She's going to stay in the hide. I tell you what, we are going to do handsome Dan, but I want to see if Stella will come out first. I don't want to be dealing with Stella because Stella's a handful. Are you not, Stella? Are you not? All right. I'm going to close you. We're going to get handsome Dan. We'll try to get Stella later. Okay. And maybe we'll get Echo later if she comes back out of her hide. Oh, she is coming out. So here we go. Handsome Dan. Be right back. There's nothing to see on this side. We've got Jenny Craig in a hide. Oh, buddy. You're okay, pal. I startled him. He's a little squirrely. He was fully out of his hide, stretched out, and I opened his tub and it startled him. Hey, pal. Just give him a minute to sort of get his bearings, let him realize that he's with me. I don't think he knows what's happened yet. He's going to figure some stuff out. It takes snakes a while. I'm working on a video right now where I'm going to talk about this. But it takes snakes a while to cognitively figure out what's going on, you know. And you have to give them that moment. And so because I'm doing a live stream and I want to be back on camera, I open his tub, reach in, grab him, and pull him over here, which is a little bit fast for them. You know, that's a big that's a fast change of environment that I don't think they can process every step of. So I think this is just a guess. Obviously, there's no way to know this, but my guess is that they're processing occasional things within that. But going from their tub to here, it's almost like they all of a sudden have appeared in a different environment. Unless I did it, if I did it slower, I think they'd be able to process it better. Again, I'm totally speculating on that, but I think it's always better to move slow with snakes and give them a moment to figure out what's going on, you know. But Handsome Dan is super handsome right now. He just shed recently. You know what we might do? We might get Jenny Craig back in her, because she's just hiding right now. I think we'll put Jenny Craig back, and we'll let Handsome Dan. He usually hangs out on the ball. He likes that ball. We'll let him cruise around on the set. Let me answer one more question from Patreon before we do that. Oh, I've got another super chat here. Hayden Waters, thanks for the super chat, Hayden. I just ordered my first super dwarf. Congrats, that's awesome. You're gonna love that snake, I think. I'm making a custom 8x4x2 PVC cage for it. Wow, that's cool. That would be great. Do you think that enclosure would be too big for a very young super dwarf? Yeah, maybe. But that's okay. You know, you might start them off in a little tub. A very young super dwarf. This seems really small. This is a hatchling ball python tub. Very young super dwarves like that size tub too, because they're just like ball pythons. Their whole, the only thing they're concerned about is staying away from predators, and so being in a smaller, more hidden situation is more comfortable for them. That cage, though, so what you do is you maybe start them out in a smaller tub, and maybe you put that tub in the cage and let them transition. You know, give them a whole bunch of hides. Make sure, if it's a small snake, they're going to have trouble finding water in a massive cage like that. So you might need to have a number of water dishes around, stuff like that. But reticulated pythons are really smart, and I think that snake eventually would get used to get used to the area and be comfortable. But you may have to do a slow transition. Start them off in a more, especially if you're getting it from a breeder and the snake was in a little tub like that. Going from a little tub all of a sudden on an airplane being shipped to you, and now it's in a big massive enclosure. That's going to be a big shock to them. So start them off small, and then it won't take long before you're putting them in the bigger thing. Let's see, more super chats. We're going to get back to these Patreon things in a second. Gray Sky, thanks for the super chat. So what's your take on super dwarf retic bowel movements? I hear they pee like a horse and go every single day and stink bad. Are you cleaning their enclosures more often? Is it really that bad? It is, for some snakes, really that bad. I've seen retics that, it's pretty awful for bigger retics. Echo and Stella get fed pretty conservatively. They're being fed a relatively small meal every 10 days to 2 weeks. They're peeing a couple times a week, maybe 3 times a week, and I clean that when I see it. And they poop about once every several meals, So really, they're probably. I don't know. I've never really looked, but I bet it's similar to a ball python where it's every 5 weeks or something like that. My guess is it's going to be more as they get bigger. So I don't think that small is bad, Also, people overfeed their mainlands, and when a snake is overfed, snakes are really, just in general, snakes, not just pythons, but snakes in general, are really good at utilizing everything. And so you can feed a snake, and the reason that a ball python only poops like every 5 or 6 weeks is because they're using everything they ate, and they're not turning much of that into poop. So they get a bunch of meals built up, and then they have something to expel. So if you've got a snake that's constantly pooping, you're probably overfeeding them because they're not able to take all those nutrients and use them. It's all being waste. or becoming waste. And snakes don't typically, you know, they can use just about everything that they eat if they're being fed on a more sparing diet, you know, more like what they would be eating in the wild, and not being overfed. People that have mainland retics love to overfeed them, because a lot of times they've bought a mainland retic because they want a big, massive snake, so they're trying to make it really big, and so they get huge, thick necks and just super obese, which is unfortunate. And then they're going to the bathroom constantly because they're just eating too much food. So Pythons and Coils Exotics. Kath Butler, thanks for the super chat. Love your channel, and you have given me so much help and inspiration. Love from Ontario, Canada. Oh, thanks so much, Kath. I appreciate that. I'm glad that the videos have been helping. It's really nice. You guys, a lot of you have just super chatted and said nice things about the channel, and that's really sweet. I appreciate that. But definitely feel like, you know, if you have questions, ask questions. Chibi Peach spent $2 to say, Lieutenant Dan, you don't got no legs. It's true. Lieutenant Handsome Dan does not have legs. Thanks for that super chat. Chibi Peach. You just wanted me to say that out loud. Natasha. Thanks for the super chat, Natasha. I like the graphic on your shirt. Thanks. This is the universe, and my friend made it. And I have a friend in Utah that made this shirt for me. Do you change up the items in the bins so they have new things to explore? Oh, yeah. I do that often. I talk about that in a number of videos where I talk about enrichment and things like that. I think that's really important to change up things in the snake's enclosure. You know, one of the big things about having a well-socialized snake is allowing them to encounter something different, whether it's in their home or outside in the room, a new hat to be on, something like that. Give them different things to encounter, because their brain will develop neural pathways that allow them to realize that a new thing doesn't mean a dangerous thing. And so a really easy way to do that is to change up what's in their enclosure, you know, and use paper to get a paper towel roll. As soon as this roll of paper towels is out, this roll is going into somebody's enclosure, or it'll be cut up and it'll go into little snakes' enclosures. So yeah, that's an important thing to do. I'm talking about a lot of stuff that's coming up on a video very soon, because I've been working on a video that covers a lot of this stuff. And these are things that, you know, many of you that watch a lot of my videos hear me say these things a lot. And I hope you don't get tired of me saying them, because I think they're important. I think they're important things. They are for me as a keeper anyway, you know. So let's get back to this. I didn't want to tilt my head too far back, although he's pretty on my hat, so I'm not too worried about it. You guys, this is so good. This barrel seagrass whiskey. It is my favorite American whiskey now. It's a rye. I'm gonna say I will declare it as my favorite. Will I buy it on a regular basis? No, it's very expensive, but it's really good. Where am I at on this Patreon? Okay, I think I know where I'm at. I think I'm on Isha Scott. Yes, I am. How long is a safe amount of time for a very young snake to go off food? How do you get them to eat again? Oh yeah, this is what people were talking about in the beginning of the live stream. So it depends on the snake. You know, if it's a very young snake and they're starting to lose weight and looking thin, that's a problem. You need to get them eating. And I have a number of videos, including I have one video that's just all about how to get a snake back on food. So I recommend watching that because that'll give you a bunch of tips. But trying a different prey item. So if they were eating frozen thawed rats, try a frozen thawed mouse. If that doesn't work, try a live rat. If that doesn't work, try a live mouse. So you're changing up prey. Oftentimes live works. You know, it'll trigger a food response. And it's one of the things, you know, I don't like to feed live. That is not a comfortable thing for me to do. But sometimes I have to do that to get a snake eating again. And you know, what happens with these snakes is their digestive, once they haven't eaten for a while, their digestive system shuts down for so long that I think there's like it becomes a situation where there's nothing triggering them to realize that they're hungry. So they'll just go off food for a very long time. And that's why I think Da Vinci Boa, which I have some around here somewhere because I just started using it again. I don't know where it is, but I have a little bottle of this Da Vinci Boa, which has worked on several of my snakes. When I suspect that a snake is in that mode where they're just not going to be hungry again, I give them that Da Vinci Boa once a week. It's just a vitamin supplement is what it is. And I only give it to snakes that are off food for a long time. I don't give it as just a vitamin supplement. But what I think it does is it gives them something vitamin-wise that kicks their appetite back into gear. And it's helped with a number of snakes. So I'm using it on Tiger Lily right now because she went from eating rats constantly to only wanting mice to not eating at all. And she hasn't had a meal in a few months, 2 to 3 months. I don't know what it is exactly, but I decided that I would start today giving her Da Vinci Boa for a few weeks to see if that helps. So that's a thing that you can do, but changing up the prey items from rats to mice, mice to rats, frozen thawed to live. I don't know that live to frozen thawed would work as well. Like I think a live meal will trigger a snake to eat more than a frozen thawed one would. Matt Johnson, thanks for the super chat. Have you ever had mites? And thanks for your past help. No, I have not dealt with mites. I don't think. I'm trying to remember if I have in the way past with reptiles. I don't think that I have, because I've always had, prior to having a bunch of snakes, I've always had like just 1 or 2 reptiles, and I don't think I ever dealt with mites. Maybe when I had like iguanas as a kid or a little snake as a kid, and I didn't even know that I had mites. It's possible, but it's something that is pretty common, and you got to be careful. I'm very careful. When I go to a pet store, especially a pet store that has snakes. If I go to, it doesn't matter if it doesn't have snakes, but if I go to a pet store and I'm in the reptile area and I'm around any snakes, I'm going to go home and change my clothes before I work with my snakes. If I'm at a reptile show, I come home and go straight to the shower, put my clothes in the wash, I shower, I don't touch anything, because I've probably handled snakes at that reptile show, and a lot of times there's mites at those shows. Let's see, Erica's texting me. That means I possibly missed. Oh, I did miss that one. D-Lo says, thanks for the super chat, D-Lo. I'm just going to read it on my phone here. Do you ever travel with your snakes? And if you had to for some reason, how do you do so without stressing them out? That's a great question. I don't ever travel with them because it's stressful. But if I were to move my snakes, if I was moving, first of all, if I'm just, I mean, I have taken a few, you know, like I have a friend who's got the cutest little girl who's like, I think she's 7 now, 6 or 7. And for the last couple of years, I've come to her birthday party and I'll bring a few snakes. And in that case, I'm just driving 10 minutes, 15 minutes away, and I put them in a tub with a towel usually that they can kind of hide under, and it's no big deal. But if I'm moving and it's going to be a long drive or something, I'm just going to pack them up as though I'm shipping them. So I'm going to put them in a box, you know, dark box, put them in a bag. Could be a bin, could be a plastic bin, something like that. But if it's cold weather, I'm going to use a heat pack, stuff like that. And actually, maybe I wouldn't, because my car is going to be warm enough So if it's just in my car, you know, I'm not worried about them. I'm just thinking about this now. I'm not worried about them being like in a FedEx truck, in the back of a cold FedEx truck. So I probably wouldn't use a heat pack. But yeah, you just pack them up as though you're shipping them. It's a safe way to do it. Okay. Thanks, Erica, for the heads up on that one. Oh, I see it now in the... Okay, got it. So let's get back to this. CNC Python Factory, this is an interesting question. Have you ever considered trying out different incubation mediums? Lots of people use vermiculite or perlite on an egg crate, a tray of some kind, or directly on a medium. I know some breeders that use egg crate or trays on sponges. I had a clutch incubate very successfully that way. I have a clutch incubating with Orbeez as the medium as well. That's really cool. That's a cool idea to try Orbeez. You know, I've always just done perlite and vermiculite. To me are the same thing. It doesn't matter. So I have a bag of both, and whatever I happen to grab is what I use for the egg box. But I use vermiculite or perlite on a hatch tray. I think you know, there's a good chance at some point, and it could happen this year, that a snake lays eggs while I'm out of town, and they're going to be sitting on those eggs for a couple days before I get to them. And in that case, I'm going to have a pile of eggs that are stuck together, and it may not fit in a normal. It might be wide. It might, you know, Kata might lay. She's going to lay a ton of eggs, and it might be a huge thing, and it might not fit on just an egg tray in a little shoebox thing. And in that case, I would put them directly on the substrate. So I'll do something different there. But I'm going to talk about a way to build an incubator in a future video. That's, I haven't done it before, but I got it from Garrett Hartle, and it makes sense to talk about it in this video. So I'm basically saying exactly what Garrett did, which is you take an ice chest and you have heated water in there, and you suspend the egg boxes over the heated water. It works really well. Even though I haven't done that yet. And I am saying that in the video, you know, that this is not my experience, but I trust Garrett. So let's see. I saw that Matthew just super chatted. Let me just scroll up really quick to make sure. Okay, there we go. Matthew, thanks for the super chat. Hi, Bob. How's Kent Snake in the next Zoom? I'd love to show my bioactive setups. Yeah, next time we do a Zoom party on Patreon. In fact, we'll do the Patreon boards here in a second. We do Zoom parties on Patreon where we just get together and everybody shows their animals and stuff like that. Would love to see your bioactive setups, Matthew. That'd be cool. Kent Snake is great. That's Anya, and I would love to show her because she's absolutely beautiful, but she is in deep shed right now. So I love Anya. That little snake has the coolest personality. That's a snake that always comes out onto my hand. Very, very happy to come out and cruise around, whatever. So let's do. Let's talk about. Here's the Patreon scroll. Here. So over on Patreon, let's see if I go this way with it. There we go. Oh, that doesn't work well. I'm trying to get Erica's name in there. I have a couple boards with with longer names that I've had to put board extensions. So Patreon had just rolled out a 7-day, which I think is cool. They're giving. I'm going to tell you some behind the scenes stuff, you guys. Patreon has made me a Patreon ambassador, which just means that when they have a new product rolling out that's cool for the patrons, they give it to the ambassadors first to test it out, which is really cool. In fact, one of them is a survey, and I'm going to be sending this sort of test survey, but it's going to give really good information to make the Patreon better. I'm going to be sending that out to patrons and Discord because I want people who are patrons and who aren't patrons to fill it out. There we go. So these are the Horde of Keepers. Look at handsome Dan. He's doing so good. I think I stood up and started moving, and it made him maybe a little bit nervous. So we'll do this kind of slowly. What I should be doing is putting him on that ball so that he's not on the hat. I think all these people might be on right now, currently in the live stream, maybe. But anyway, these patrons are helping out. There's some really cool stuff coming up on this channel this year. There's two specific things that are really big. One of them I have announced on Patreon, and the other one I have not announced on Patreon. But both of the really cool things are things that would not happen if it weren't for the support of the patrons. So I really appreciate them. And if you do that, like that free trial just rolled out. If you're not a patron, if you go to my Patreon, you'll see there's one of the levels says start a free 7-day trial. And I think you just without being charged, I think you can just be a patron for 7 days and you'll get that update. So if you do that, don't tell anybody what the update is. Don't give that little secret away. It's important that that not be known to the whole world at this point. So we're on the last board, you guys. It's the channel sponsors. Black Box Cages, Lane Labs, Gray Family Snakes. The Gray Family is in Africa right now, helping an orphanage. I'm seeing all their videos and everything. So cool to see a Green Room Pythons t-shirt on Roger while he's at the orphanage. Anyway, they're doing cool stuff, and I think they're going to go and try and find ball pythons in the wild also. But they brought their daughter Sam. I don't remember how old Sam is. She's got to be like 12 or 13 or something. But they brought her, and there's a video of her showing all these kids on her phone. She's surrounded by all these kids, and she's showing them her snakes, and they're so shocked that anybody would have a snake as a pet, and they're, the colors and all the different patterns and stuff. It's pretty funny. All right, let's do this. Let's real quick switch this so you can see what I'm doing. We're gonna get Ginny Craig back in her. Hang on, I got a whole situation here. So one of the things, when I have these snakes out, one of the things I do is watch their behavior. And if their behavior is this for a long time, I'm going to put them back in their cage because they're going to be more comfortable hide. If they just want to hide, they're going to be more comfortable doing that in their own hide. Sometimes they'll go into a hide and hang out for a few minutes and then come out and roam around. But she went directly into a hide and stayed there the whole time. So I'm just going to put her back in our home. She'll be happy about that. And then we'll put this stack back, and then we'll put Handsome Dan on. Oops. We'll put Handsome Dan on the ball. Oh, buddy. That's 2 snakes that have dropped, you guys. Something you want to avoid. Not cool to have snakes drop. A fall like that is not going to hurt them. Probably. I mean, it could, I guess, if they landed really weird. But I've been talking about this. I think I've been talking about this maybe on TikTok or Instagram that you want to avoid a snake falling from this high. Oh, I actually talked about it on a video that's coming out soon. You want to have a snake avoid like falling from here to the ground because they could break a rib, they could break a spine. They're probably not going to. They're probably going to be okay. Snakes are really resilient and they usually are fine, but from higher up, they could definitely sustain an injury. So a fall like what Handsome Dan just did, I'm not too concerned about. Although I don't want that to happen. But the bigger falls, you want to really watch them. And if it's a ball python, they're probably going to fall. So if you have a ball python that's climbing, you should be spotting them. Okay. D-Low, has anybody considered breeding for disposition? Yeah, I have. I'm trying to. I have snakes that, I mean, I have a theory that I don't know if, I mean, right now it's just a theory, but the theory is that I think that snakes that come from a mother who is very well socialized and calm, I think those snakes end up well socialized and calm. There's also a thing about incubation where like I incubated a little bit lower temps, and it takes the snakes a little bit longer. You know, most people say 55 days they should be coming out. My snakes are coming out at between 60 and 62 days, something like that. And people say that the snakes that are incubated a little bit longer have a better disposition when they come out of the egg. I don't know if there's any truth to that or not. I can tell you that of the small handful of clutches that I've had, you know, I'm still new to breeding. Small handful of clutches that I've had, I have never had a hatchling bite me. They way more just crawl out onto my hand from right out of the egg. And I don't know if that's because the mothers are all very well socialized and have nice dispositions, or if it's because I incubate longer, or if because I'm a magical person. I like to think that it's that I'm a magical person and they're just not concerned about me. So we'll go with that. All right. I'm back to, hang on. Okay. Oh, I'm trying to check out Handsome Dan over there. Let's see if we can see him from the, so he went off his ball. You can see his tail there. He usually finds a spot to just sit, and he's very still. So I will put the camera on him if he does anything different. Okay, here we go. Back to this. Ooh, we're on the second page, you guys. Paul Seibel asks, I have 7 snakes. How many more should I get? This is a great question, Paul. I have 7 snakes. How many more should I get? I mean, there's a few empty spots in my house. So, Paul, I think you should think of it like this. It's not how many snakes you have. You have a group of snakes. You have one group of snakes. Whether that's a large group or a small group or a medium group, it's just one group of snakes. Let's say you were a shepherd and you had sheep. You would have a herd of sheep, just one herd that you're responsible for. That's all. That herd might be 100 heads, 200 heads. You know, it doesn't really matter. It's still just one herd of sheep. You are a snake herder, and this is your herd. So if you add a few to the herd, it doesn't really, it's still just one herd. That's how I think of it. You're a snake herder, Paul. Get all the snakes. That's my recommendation. If anybody has a specific number that they want to give to Paul, put it down in the chat. Artful Jackalope says, anything you wished you knew before getting your first snake? Yeah. When I got what I think is probably my first snake, I wish that I had known how to take care of a snake. I was a young child. It was a green snake, a little green snake. And what I wish I knew is not to stick the reptile carpet we're talking about the 1980s, you guys, not to stick the reptile carpet on the bottom of what probably was a 5 or 10 gallon tank with double-sided tape, because that snake had to go to the vet to get tape removed from its belly. Wish I knew that. From what I can remember, that was my first snake, except for maybe a garter snake that I caught in the yard and kept for a day or two. Also, Artful Jackalope asks, just in general, the idea of target training snakes fascinates me. I used to be a dog trainer, and in that world, you get basically hundreds of repetitions of behavior a week using little training treats. But with a snake that only eats one big meal a week, that kind of rapid repetition doesn't work. Yeah, you're right. So the thing about target training a snake, when I was target training, any of the snakes that are target trained, I actually haven't done it with Handsome Dan. I just do it every feeding with him, and he's catching on. But I did it with I was really trying to get Echo and Stella trained immediately. And so what I would do is just feed them smaller meals more often, just to get a little bit of repetition. So they were getting, they were little, and I think I was feeding them every 5 days for a little while. But they caught on quickly. My ball pythons that I target trained caught on quickly. Maya didn't catch on as fast, but she is definitely target trained now. And Handsome Dan is starting to catch on. So I feed Handsome Dan every 10 days to 2 weeks. He sees that target. That's not very often, but he's starting to perk up when he sees it. So snakes are smart, even without tons of repetition. They will they'll figure it out. It's and with a smart dog, you can pretty much teach a smart dog a little thing in a day with a bunch of little tiny treats, right? So with a snake, if it takes you a few months of weekly feedings or something like that, or 2 months of weekly feedings or something, before they start to catch on, it's not that big of a deal. They get it eventually. They are smart creatures. Let's see what I've missed here, if I missed anything. Erica asks if Tiger Lily is available. She sure is. I think she is. Hang on. Thanks for the super chat, Erica. Even though you could have texted me with that, you still super chatted, and I appreciate it. All right, so that was that. Let me see if I can get Tiger Lily out of here. My little non-eater. Hi, young lady. I see you down here. What are you doing? She did really well with the Da Vinci. I don't like giving snakes the Da Vinci because they don't like it. You're putting a pipette down their throat, and that's not cool. But she did really well with it, and she didn't spit any out. She was just fine. So, I'm not too worried about her. She went off food. This is something that snakes do. She's probably around 850 or 900 grams, and sometimes females just go off food at somewhere around 1,000 grams. Evie did it. Evie did it for, it seems like a year and a half. She probably in a year and a half, she probably had a total of 6 meals in a year and a half. And now she's just decided and it's not from Da Vinci. I haven't given her Da Vinci Boa in a long time, but now she's just decided it's time to eat. So she's taking a medium rat every week and getting big fast. So I think Tiger Lily will do that too. She just wanted to have a little break. And, she's doing good. Just noticed. Where'd this go? Echo's. Oh, wait. There we go. Echo's trying hard to get attention. Yeah, she's back here. She did come out of her hide. And I'll open that door. We'll see how she does. I want to put this one back first. And I might want to put Handsome Dan back too. he's doing okay back there. But all right, let me get back to this. Let's see where we're at on this one. Got that. Okay, so we only have a few left. Tara is asking, will you consider starting a podcast? So many people love them, especially me. And I know you'd be great. Thank you. That's really nice. I love podcasts. I'm a big fan of them. My current favorite right now, you guys, that I'm listening to is The World's Greatest Con. Look that up. It's great. Brian Brushwood, who is he's the modern rogue on YouTube. He's great. He's fantastic. But he's got this podcast called The World's Greatest Con, and it's fascinating. So, Tara, to answer your question, yes, I've thought about what I would do if I had a podcast. I haven't come up with anything good. I know it would be a lot of work. It would take work away from my YouTube channel. I've also thought about other YouTube channels that I could do that aren't snake related or animal related. It always comes down to the fact that pretty much all my energy goes into this YouTube channel right now. And it would be tough to do anything else. But I like the idea of doing a podcast. I'm a big fan of them. I do a lot of driving, and it's what I listen to when I drive. It's podcasts or audiobooks. I'm seeing Handsome Dan over there, but I don't think you guys can see him. I think he's kind of behind everything. You know what I might do to make I think I'm gonna put both of them back. But let's keep going through this. Oh, Chibi Peach had a super chat again. Chibi Peach, you are very generous with your super chats. So I found part of the fun is making my python's enclosure as cool to look at as possible. Yeah, and change it around every week. Do you change up their enclosures? Do you think it helps enrichment? Yeah, we were talking about that earlier. Actually, I do change things up. I have, for instance, I'm putting Tiger Lily back in her tub right now, and Tiger Lily usually has a whiskey sleeve in her tub. Right now, she has a Lagavulin sleeve that she's had in there for a long time. That's substrate on there, not poop. And then the other day, I gave her this thing. I had something come and it came in one of these, things, and I split it into three and just put it into three different enclosures. So this is basically a temporary hide that she can use if she wants it. And as soon as it gets messed up, it'll get thrown away. So a lot of different cardboard things, but then I have a ton of different fake plants and just different things that go in their enclosures that I change up a lot. I think that's important to do for snakes. Okay, thanks for that super chat. Okay. Nyasha is asking, at what point should I give up and decide my kid is just a mouser? I've tried all the tricks. And he won't eat a rat no matter what. He supposedly ate them twice with his breeder, but never has with me. So, Nyasha, I would say, one way to think about it is that it's just nice to feed a snake whatever they want to eat. Just, don't worry about it too much, especially if it's a male. And you're not breeding them. It's not like you're trying to get a female up to weight. And, if he'll eat, if he's full grown and he'll eat a couple of jumbo rats, let's say he's 1,200 grams or something like that, 1,500 grams, something like that. And he wants to eat a couple of jumbo rats in a feeding. So you give him one, you let him swallow it, offer him another. And you do that once every 2 weeks for a male. That's totally fine. And I wouldn't fight him too much on it. With Lucille. Oh, I have news that I could tell you guys about Lucille, because I think I've only told Patreon. So Lucille is my mouser, and I've gotten her to eat rats a few times, including most recently she ate a medium rat, which was crazy. I fed her. She was out. I was experimenting. I think I've talked about this in a live stream before. I was experimenting with, okay, she's roaming around. Can I just get her, like if a mouse came up or if a rat came up, I think she would eat it if she was out free roaming. So I tried it, and she did it with mice first, and then the next week I tried it with a rat. She took a rat. It was great, and then she stopped eating. But my point is this. I've only gotten her to eat mice except for a few times. She's had rats, and she just laid a clutch 2 weeks ago of 9 big eggs. I was shocked. Shocked because the clutch surprised me, and I didn't realize she was nearly that close to laying, and all of a sudden I pull open her drawer in the morning, and she's got 2 eggs out, and a couple hours later she had 9 out. So she's doing well. Let's take a look at Lucille. Oh, you know what? We can't, because she did just eat yesterday. So she got back on food right away, and I'm gonna offer her a rat next week. But she's taken 4 meals now, and they were meals of just one jumbo mouse. I want the mamas that haven't eaten in a while to just have small meals to start out with. So she had 1 jumbo mouse every 5 days. So I guess it's been more than 2 weeks, but whatever. And then yesterday she took 2. So I'm going to give her a couple days to digest before I mess with her. But man, she was skin and bones. You could see her ribs. She was so freaking skinny after laying those eggs. She was all eggs and not much else. So I'm glad that she's eating for me. Okay. But I'm excited about that because those are the inspector's babies. It's the first clutch that we've had from the inspector. And Lucille is a pied. She's just a pied. And the inspector, to my knowledge, isn't even het pied. So we're going to get a bunch of... It's going to prove out what he is. It's going to prove out whether he is, in fact, super orange dream, whether he's, in fact, super inchy. We'll get a bunch of male bananas, and we might get some fires because he also might be fire. So, and then everybody will be het pied because Lucille is pied. Oh, Erica's reminding me of things. I appreciate you, Erica. Let's see if Echo wants to come out. She's going to be hungry, and as you know, if you've seen my live streams before, I might get bit because I don't pay attention to Echo as much when I'm paying attention to a live stream, and especially at night, I might get bit. We'll see what happens. All right, I think I'm almost done with. Let's see where we're at on this. Yeah, I have a few questions left. Jennifer Lyle asks, when you first got ball pythons, was breeding your initial goal, or did you begin as a keeper with no intention to breed and evolve into a breeder? Yeah, I began as a keeper. I mean, it evolved fast because I did a deep dive on research. And then when breeding was kind of an interest for me, I did a deep dive on breeding research and made a decision fairly quickly. But I think it's really important. Hi, I'm not feeding you. That's my hand. Don't even look at me like that. Come on, come up here. Can you guys see her? Oh yeah, you can see her. So I did decide that I wanted to breed pretty quickly, but I did a ton of research and knew the animal really well. I think that going into getting a new type of animal and going in saying I'm going to breed this animal is not the best way to go about it, because you got to learn the animal first, right? You got to make sure that you like keeping that animal, and that's my arm. You're all right with that? I'm not feeding right now. Here's a door, though, that you can climb out on if you want. You want to use that door? I don't think she cares. I think she just wants food, but we'll see. We'll give her a little bit of time. So Damara, that's so nice. Super chat for B and her good keeper. That's really nice. I'll give you an update on B. Oh, yawn! Look at that yawn. Did you guys see it? Oh yeah, you did. Little B, Arthur Dent, is still being assist fed. I keep saying, oh, she's gonna eat any day now. She's about to eat. She struck and she wrapped and whatever, but she hasn't done it yet. So tonight, in fact, after this live stream, she will do another attempt, and if she doesn't eat, she'll be assist fed again. I'm trying not to assist feed her each time. I want to give her a few tries to eat. Last time I got her to wrap. She did really well at wrapping, and then I closed her enclosure and walked away, and the next morning it was still there, so she never ate it. She's done the thing where she'll look for the meal, but you know, I still have to. I can't let her go for too long. She's a very small snake still. She's 8 months old and still hasn't eaten on her own, but she's getting it. She's figuring it out. It just takes patience. Yes, Erica, I did get that one. Thanks for checking, though. Erica's on top of it, you guys. Okay. Last two questions, you guys. The Harpers asked, have you any interest in gaming? If so, do you prefer PC, Xbox, PlayStation, Switch, Oculus, or other? Also, on the subject of gaming, well, here, I'll answer that question. I used to be really into gaming, but the problem is that I was really into the first-person shooter games. And the problem is that if I get into those, I waste too much time and I don't get work done. So I prefer PlayStation, probably. And the Oculus is awesome. I've only tried it a few times, but it's amazing. And yeah, so I don't do any gaming right now because I just get too into it if it's a good game. Also on the subject of gaming, if you could insert yourself as a character into any game, which would it be? I have two thoughts come to mind. Red Dead Redemption, I would be a friendly barkeep. I'd be a friendly barkeep with just a bit of information. Not a massive amount of, not where you have to kill me, you know, for something, but just friendly barkeep. So that would be fun. And I would like to be maybe an alternate love interest in Miss Pac-Man. So I would look like Pac-Man, but maybe a little darker yellow. And maybe I'd have a bow tie. And maybe I'm friends with the ghosts instead of trying to eat them. Maybe the ghosts think I'm cool. And we're just hanging out up in the corner where the little power-up thing is. Is that what it's called? I can't remember. Little power-up. We're all hanging out in the corner, right? Me and the ghosts. They think I'm cool. So we're just chilling. Miss Pac-Man comes along. Ramp, 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 ramp. She sees us. I just give her a what's up like that. And she blushes and ramp, 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 goes down the other way. Something like that. That's what springs to mind. Good question, Harpers. All right. Robert Belolovsky says, this is just a statement. This is the last one. It's not a question, but I love it. Robert Belolovsky says, I had a genuine nightmare involving a green room D&D session where I kept rolling ones and everyone would yell snake eyes at me. I have no snake questions, but my sanity itself is in question. That is hilarious. We are the Patreon group over on Discord. So I have a Discord. Anybody Python Green can be on it. Channel if you're in the access. And on one of those channels, we're getting together a Dungeons and Dragons group so that we can play D&D, spearheaded by our own Keith Harper right there. thanks, Keith, for putting that together. We're about to play for the first time tomorrow night, I think. I haven't looked at the updates, but I think we're going tomorrow night with it. So Robert Belolowski already having nightmares of people yelling snake eyes at him. It's very funny. That makes me laugh. All right. So Echo does not want to come out. I can already tell. She's sitting here hoping that I'm feeding her, but I'm not. I'm not feeding you. Excuse me. Okay. That's kind of what I thought was going to happen. So I'm going to pour a little bit more whiskey. We'll get a different snake. Do I have anybody out right now? I don't think. I have Handsome Dan out. That's right. I got to get off the stool to reach this latch. Here we go. Okay. I have a super chat. I might have more than one super chat. Tim's Reptile Zoo. Thanks for the super chat, Tim. Hi, Bob. Just joined the Secret Society, Horde of Keepers. Oh, cool. Thanks for joining. That's great. Been binge watching your channel. Great content. Great video topics. Oh, that's really nice, Tim. Thanks for that. And thanks for joining the Horde. Do I have your name on there? I'm sure I do, because I always put them up right away. Let me know if I don't, though. Unless you joined today, then I wouldn't have seen it probably yet. See if I missed anybody else. I think I got everybody. So let's see what Handsome Dan is up to over here. Oh, he's kind of in the blinds. Pal. I'm crawling away. All right. I'm not going to try too hard with him. I think he's going to come up and or maybe he won't. Maybe he's just. I think my point, though, is that I'm going to leave him alone for right now. That's my point. Is there anybody else that anyone would like to see? I don't have a ton of snakes available just because I have a few in shed and I have a few digesting, but feel free to request if you have someone that you would like to see. And if they are available, I'll bring them out. That hot librarian. You've heard us talking about the D&D group, though, right? And you're in the Discord. So it's just taken a long time, but it's coming together now. We're going to try one, and then hopefully, because I think there's enough people in the Horde of Keepers that are into playing D&D. I think we'll end up having numerous games going on at once if we can find people that will DM. We need to have enough people that are willing to DM, because right now we're playing with people all over the world, and I think the game is going to be super early in the morning for people in the UK and very late at night for me tomorrow. But it's going to be fun. All right. Let me make sure that yep. I got everything. Matthew Tracy, thanks for the super chat. This is an impossible question to answer. Who's your favorite in your collection? Yeah, really, really tough to answer that one. I have, you know, I love all these snakes, but for different reasons. And there's some that are like Dolly and Tiger Lily are favorites because they came from the first clutch that I ever had, and I held them back from my first clutch that ever hatched here. And Echo I love because she was my first super dwarf. And there's so many. Damara, her personality, but I could go through every single one and say why I love them so much, and I don't think I could ever pick a favorite. But thanks for your question in that super chat. Sorry for the vague answer. Sarah, thanks for your super chat. Can Maya or Damara come out? Yes, I think so. Let's see what Damara is doing. Damara has been wanting to come out lately. I can't tell where she's at in her egg development situation. I don't think she's ovulated yet, but it could always happen when I'm out of town and I just don't know about it. Oh, Mama, look at you. Look at you. Can we see you for a second? So she's been a little bit, she's also been paired with the inspector this year. And I gave her last year off. 2 years ago, she was paired with the inspector, and she gave me a clutch of slugs, which are infertile eggs. But lately, she has been wanting to come out. So in the morning, if I see her moving around, her tub gets opened, and she comes out. And she usually comes over to me, and we hang out for a minute. She doesn't want to hang out with me for too long, but she usually, it might just be coincidence that I'm sitting on the couch and that's just where she's headed. But she usually ends up in my lap for a little bit, and then she makes her way to go find her own spot to be. And I usually put her back. That's early in the morning, and I usually put her back mid to late afternoon. She goes back in her tub. So, hey, Mama. She's so sweet. I love this snake. But I don't have two hands. You're kind of handcuffing me, Damara. Have I missed any super chats? I think we got them all. Okay. You know what? I think you'll be more comfortable if you're just around my neck, young lady. There we go. This is a big ball python, you guys. She is 5.5 feet long and over 9 pounds. She might be 10 pounds at this point. And she is the sweetest lady. I had a very young child over here the other day with her mom and her brother, and they both held Damara. And like having a little kid with Damara around their neck, she's such a big snake, especially around the neck of a little kid. And she's very heavy too, so kids are always delighted to hold this snake. Erica's texting me. She's just telling me that I'm doing a good job staying on top of it. Thanks for that, Erica. Hey, you can't be on the tree. You're too big for that. Ugh, hang on, I gotta save the tree. This isn't about saving the snake at this point. It's about saving my ladder. Hey, you can't. You crazy snake. Ugh. There we go. You know what? Maybe just hang out right here. How about that? And then if you're too squirrely, I'll put you back. where were we at? Okay, so we are 2 hours and 5 minutes into this, and this is probably a good time to stop unless a pressing question comes up in the next few seconds. But you guys, thanks for joining me on this live stream. I hope you enjoyed it. I have 2 snakes to put away, I think, right now. Okay. All right. So thanks for joining me. And I think we covered everything that I wanted to cover in this live stream. This has been great. There's been right around 100 people in the live stream the whole time since the very beginning, which is fantastic. So I'll see you guys in a few weeks in a live stream, and produce video next week and such like that. So have a great night, everybody.